to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. We really want to thank every single person that has subscribed to the channel. Go ahead and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thanks to every single person that supports us on Patreon, beloveds, and also through PayPal with your love donations. We appreciate, love you so much. And all the words of encouragement and emails of love and appreciate loving, it really does it warms our heart, and we appreciate love each and every one of you so much. We're sending you the most powerful of vibes to be able to make the necessary transitions in your life. We are in both the worst of times and the greatest of times. It all depends on your perspective. A couple of weeks ago, maybe, I don't know if I've released it on the channel yet, but you can definitely catch it on Patreon. I talked about one of the most asked questions about the topic we've been talking about, mainly mentalism. How do our thoughts create our reality? And I explained that first you come up with the idea, and as you're developing the idea, an emotion is attached to it, and that emotion now transforms into the magnetic force that draws the experiences that match the vibrational, there are vibrational match to it, and that's how you create your reality, because there are infinite number of possibilities that you can tap into, but in order to experience them physically, you have to first tap into them spiritually. And that's why Babylon has spent billions and trillions of dollars and energy studying the mind, studying how to even having their own people be their subjects on mind control, MK Ultra, and they've done it from a lower level because that they can only reach a certain level, as there's a ceiling for them. They can't get higher than that. So they've really concentrated on how to program the mind subconsciously, how to, when you're a child, etc., how to put triggers in there through pain, through shock treatment and all these things. I mean, it has become a science. And now they don't even need the physical shock treatment. They can, they do like global shock treatments. There was seriously, the pandemic is literally a global MK Ultra psyop. If you see how people are reacting, it's absolutely insane, beloveds. But what Babylon has done is they have focused so much of their energy on the subconscious and programming your subconscious. And the reason they've done that is because there's so much power. Because everything that's happening in the subconscious mind, which is basically like your spiritual dimension, your spiritual level, connected to a higher mind. But everything that's happening there, and there are many levels to it, there are many levels to the mind, etc. Everything that's happening to there literally manifests what's happening here. And many people don't understand or have never even been, schooled on the fact that the subconscious mind, this operating system that is controlling our lives behind the scenes, actually controls 95% of our lives. And and before like the age of 7 or something, I think at the age of 7, you actually have, you start to create discernment, etc. But before the age of 7, everything that is put into everything just bypasses any kind of critical thinking, analysis, etc., and goes right into your subconscious mind and is programmed there. That's why so many things, that's why Babylon concentrates so much on making you feel a certain way, on demolishing and destroying us, the self-esteem of our children, putting false narratives into their head before they can say it, teaching them these church rhymes which will buzz in their minds for the rest of their lives, and all these black sheep, have you any, you know what I mean? Like all these crazy rhymes that weren't just crazy rhymes, but were like literally spells that are now in the operating system behind us. Because another thing about the subconscious mind is it records everything. And once I was told this, by the way, by a seer psychic. He told me, even at the age of 1, even at the age of 6 months, your mind could go into a room and it would capture absolutely everything from the windows to the color of the wall to everybody's mood, etc., etc. And so when you see a child and you think the child is not recording anything or is not storing anything, they're capturing everything. But we've been blocked from that mind because you see, in this subconscious mind that Babylon controls, there are levels to it. And precedence is given, of course, to survival. So anything dealing with survival always trumps. Funny that that's the word. Always trumps anything to do with creativity, expansion, thinking, feeling, etc., etc. And so they concentrate a lot on creating that and nurturing and like expanding that survival mind. Someone call it the reptilian mind, the lower mind. But that's where Babylon puts a lot of their programming, in that lower mind. And because that lower mind, if that lower mind is triggered to be anxious, is triggered to feel, threatened, is triggered to feel fear or whatever, that mind will shut down the rest of the mind where the real power is. And these things now were put in us since childhood. And so they operate without us even knowing. So you can feel like, you may know you want to escape the system. You may feel it. You may have all these great ideas, but there's always something that keeps you in the same situation. You may know you're a god or a goddess or a king or a queen, but when you look at your circumstances, there's nothing that speaks to that. And that's because of the original subconscious, programming that was done to the lowest level of your mind that is constantly triggered when you engage in the matrix. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to Wake Up Africa. We are talking about today how Babylon remote controls us. They've done so much, beloveds, to insert a lot of false information, falsehoods, religious falsehoods, so many lies into a subconscious mind, into the lowest part of our subconscious mind, so that they can control us, because they studied, and that's why they call it the subconscious mind, because they don't fully understand it. It's more like the spirit man connected to the mind, and it's the connection point between this world and that realm. You know what I mean? Between our physical man and our spiritual man. They call it the subconscious mind because they can't see that world. But it's the spirit man. And you see, the spirit man will always yield to the physical man, the physical brain, which is about flight or survival, because that's the brain that, it has precedence in telling us, you're in danger, etc., etc. So the spirit man will always yield to that. And so what Babylon has done is it has overdeveloped the lower side of us, that physical mind. It has overdeveloped it by over-sexualizing everything, by focusing so much on our lusts and our fears and our wants, and creating this entire fabric. And it's literally all about, we're literally like either in our own movie or we're in like a candy store or something like that, where everything is just catching our physical eyes, and so we can't see with our first spiritual eye and have that first, spiritual experience. We're always in the physical world. And this is how, beloveds, Babylon controls us, because they programmed that for so long. But you see, they found that because of the seasons and times that we're entering in, where we can go higher, we can expand our minds, we can vibrate higher, and like the spiritual realm is, pouring down so much information, pouring down so much knowledge at this time. If you want to know, you will know. If you knock, the door will be open to you. If you seek, you will find. Excuse the noise in the background. So, the spiritual realm is literally pouring down all this information. And so that's why Babylon now has to move into the next step of the New World Order, which is basically to, to give people the chip, the mark of the beast, so that they can control, they can cap the level of consciousness that they can have, and they can control those people's narrative and kind of block them from, create a block, create a wall between the spirit man, and the physical man, and make it almost impossible for those people to expand their minds, dream a bigger dream, have a bigger vision. And that's what this whole thing is about. Because you see, Babylon has found that even though they can program the lowest part of your subconscious mind, they have to, your physical mind, your carnal mind, even though they can program that and trigger it and overstimulate it so that it's always it's always what's in control. It's always what's dictating what's happened. And it's like having a team of people, from the youngest to the oldest, and you allow the 2-year-old, to decide what the entire family will do. And you constantly give the 2-year-olds, you yield to the 2-year-old's decision making, etc., to their fear, to their happiness, to their lust, whatever. That's literally what's going on in our minds, beloveds. And with this experiment, they're going to cap people. So you won't be able to get out of your 2-year-old mind to actually expand to your God mind, to your creator mind, and, change your reality. And that's why this is such a critical crossroads for absolutely everyone. And I wanted to explain just briefly what exactly we can find in the subconscious mind. What does the subconscious mind hold? Because, I told you guys before we took the break, it records absolutely everything from the day you came through your mama's womb. Some people can even remember or recollect what it was like to be in their mama's womb. So it records everything, and so much happens at a young age to set the precedent for what will happen in the future. Because the childlike carnal mind is not a very brilliant mind. It was just made for flight or fight, for survival. So it can't think those expansive thoughts. It's very limited in its thinking. And so whatever is said, so it goes on the previous experience, the previous feeling of fear, the previous feeling of this and that. Also, it's always alert and awake. This is now our subconscious mind. So our subconscious mind records everything. And that's why Babylon also concentrates so much on feeding us with their movies, their news, their TV shows, their social media, their this, their that. They put so much energy on constantly feeding us, and so much happens. You see, with music and with rhythm, there's a lot of things that Babylon is feeding you through their subliminal messages that are passing your discernment barrier and going straight into the subconscious and mashing you up. Because they figured the art of manipulating and overstimulating the lowest mind that you have. The subconscious mind, as I told you earlier, it controls 95% of our lives. It is built on habituation. So, as I said, especially that lower mind, it's built on previous habits. So your decision today will be informed by what happened last time. How did it deal with the fear? How did it deal with the flight or fight? How did it deal with the anxiety? It's all based on that. It's not channeling anything. It's not connecting into any spiritual connection. And this is the thing, because you see, our subconscious, it's the spirit man, and it's all these minds. I can't even, there's a physical mind, there's a mental mind, there's a sexual mind, there's layers, beloveds. Just like there's not just 7 chakras, there's at least 12. Anyway, stories for other days. So, and the subconscious part of us, beloveds, that is running our lives, it speaks to us in dreams. And our dreams are very reflective, or especially those thoughts and meditations we have at night. It has no verbal language at all. It's all about feeling. It's a feeling mind, beloveds. And this is why, it's not logical. It pulls information from everywhere. And this is why, because it's a feeling mind, and because it's built itself on emotion, that's why Babylon has tried to control us so much through triggers, by creating triggers in us, so that we're always so that we'll go into our feeling mind, and then the feeling mind will pull all these things that made us feel some type of way, and it will limit us, It's really important to recognize this, and and also to recognize that the subconscious mind is 1 million times more powerful than the conscious mind. I mean, it's fueling all of this. It's creating all of this. It's creating the Patrix or the Matrix. It's creating this entire reality. But the thing is, all our energy is going to our lowest mind, which is why we're feeling stuck. We're creating this, we're in this Babylon system. That's the only way Babylon is able to do any of this, beloveds. And another thing about the subconscious mind is it takes everything literally. And I think this is something that we really take for granted. Because if we knew that, we wouldn't be out there making all these, watching all these TV shows, watching all these movies, engaging in all this nonsensical stuff with our eye gates, our second eyes, not even our first eye. We wouldn't do that. Because you see, your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a dream and reality. It doesn't know the difference between what you're really, when you're really going through something physically and when you're going through something just through mentally. To it, it's all the same. And that's why you have to be so careful with your gates, beloveds, your ears, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, what you're letting in. And you can't be watching these news and these movies and everything because your body feels like that is happening. And that's the danger that has come in us being able to see an earthquake halfway across the world. And we feel something like it's happened to us, and how they have these global tragedies and just globally harvest energy. But those are stories for other days. But beloveds, that's why you have to move higher spiritually, so that the lowest part of your mind is not controlling you anymore and can't be triggered by the system to create obstacles and blockages in your life. Let me know what you think about this. Until next time, tuko pamoja.